Greek origin names have successfully endured to this day, thanks to the great splendor achieved by the ancient Greek civilization. Next, we present 80 of the most common names in Spanish, which you could even use for your next baby. Alejandro comes from the Greek Alexandros, which in turn derives from Alexein, meaning to defend, and andros, meaning man, so it translates as the defender. Andres. It originates from the word andrios, which means manly and brave. Arcadio, this name comes from Arcadios and means native of Arcadia, a Greek region in the Peloponnese. Alicia, from the Greek aletheia, which means truth, so this name translates as the true one. Anastasia comes from the Greek Anastasia, which in turn comes from the word anastasis, meaning the resurrection. Ariadne comes from the ancient Greek Ariadne, which means very pure. In mythology, Ariadne helped Theseus defeat the Minotaur. Belisario comes from the word belos, which means arrow, and Ares, who is the god of war. It translates to the arrow of Ares. Bautista comes from the Greek name Baptistus, which means the one who baptizes. Barbara comes from the word barbaros and means the foreigner. Berenice comes from the Greek berenike, which in turn comes from Pharaoh, to bring, and Nike means victory, so it translates as the one who brings victory. Ciro? It is believed to come from the Greek Kyrios, which means Lord. Cosme, this name derives from Cosmos and is interpreted as the adorned one. Christobal, it comes from the Greek Christophoros and means the bearer of Christ. Calixta, it derives from the Greek Kallistos, which means the most beautiful. Catalina, this name has its root in the Greek katharos, which means pure. Catalina means the purest. Cynthia. It comes from the Greek Kynthia and refers to someone who comes from Kynthos, a mountain where it was believed Artemis was born on the island of Delos. Damian comes from the Greek name Damianos, which comes from the verb damazo, meaning to tame, so Damian means the tamer. Dorian means descendant of Doro, who, according to mythology, founded the first Dorian community on Mount Parnassus. Damaris comes from the Greek word damar, which means married woman. Delia means from Delos, a Greek island in the Aegean Sea. Denise comes from the ancient Greek Dionysos, which refers to a follower of Dionysus, the god of wine. Aeneas, from the Greek name Aeneas, means the praised one. Erasmus, this name comes from Erasmios and means kind or desirable. Eugenio comes from the Greek eu, meaning well, and genos, meaning origin, and literally means well-born. Eustasio, from the Greek name Eustasios, and it can be translated as the stable one. Eladia comes from Eladios, which means from Elis or from Greece. Estefania is the feminine version of Esteban, which comes from Stephanos, meaning the crown. Eunice comes from the Greek eu, meaning good, and Nike, meaning victory. So it translates as the very victorious one. Felipe comes from the Greek Philippos and derives from philos, meaning love, and hypos. Horse is the lover of horses. Philemon, from the Greek Philemon, means one who is hospitable. Philomena comes from the root philos and melos, which translates as lover of singing. Genadia comes from the name Hyanadios, and this from Hyanadas, which means noble and generous. Gregorio, from the ancient Greek Gregorius, which means the watchful one. Hector, from the Greek name Hector, which is interpreted as the possessor. Hermes, alluding to the Greek god Hermes, the god of messaging, and commonly called the herald of the gods. Homer, from the Greek Homeros, and it can be interpreted as the hostage. Helen comes from the word Helene and means shining light. Eliana related to the Greek god Helios, and it means radiant like the sun. Inez, this name comes from the Greek agnos and means pure and chaste. Irene, from the Greek Irene, which means peace. Isora means coming from Isoria, a region of Asia Minor. Before continuing, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and turn on the bell to get notifications of new videos. George. This name comes from the word Yorgos, which means the farmer. Hazen comes from the word Yason, which translates as the healer. Jacinta comes from Iakintos and refers to the flower of the same name, or hyacinth flower. Leandro comes from the Greek leon and andros and means the lion man. Leonidas, from the Greek name Leonidas, which means son of the lion. Lydia, from the Greek Lydia, referring to a historical region in Asia Minor. Ligia, from the ancient Greek Ligia, which means the melodious one. Lena, from the Greek Linos, and some authors attribute its meaning to the anointed one or covered in linen. Miltiades comes from the Greek Miltiades, and it means red earth. Macarena. One theory points to its origin in the Greek Makarios, which means happy or blessed. Margarita, from the Greek word margarites, which means pearl. Melissa comes from Melissa, which means bee, and this comes from Meli, which means honey. In mythology, Melissa was a nymph who fed Zeus with honey. Monica. Its origin is debated, but there is a theory that says it comes from the Greek monos, which means alone or unique. Nestor, from the ancient Greek word Nestor, which can be interpreted as the traveler. Nicaccio comes from the Greek Nike, which means victory. So Nicaccio translates as the victorious one. Nicholas derives from Nike. Victoria and Laos mean people, so it means the victory of the people. Nerea, related to the sea god Nereus, means the one who flows with the water. Nydia. It is believed to come from ancient Greek and is interpreted as the graceful one. Orestes, from the Greek Orestes, which means the one who rises like the mountain. Ophelia comes from the ancient Greek Ophelos and means the one who helps. Pamela, possibly from Pan, which means all, and Mealy, which means honey, can be interpreted as full of honey. Pandora comes from Pan, meaning all, and Doro, meaning gift. According to mythology, she was created by Vulcan and endowed with all the graces and talents of the gods. Penelope comes from the ancient Greek Penelopea and translates as the weaver. Sebastian comes from the word Sebastevo, and it means the one who is revered. Socrates is composed of the words essos, meaning healthy, kratos, meaning power, and the suffix ties, meaning agent. Socrates means the one with healthy power. Sandra comes from the Greek name Lysandros, which shares the same root as Alexander, and it means the liberator. Selena, from the Greek Selene, which means goddess of the moon. Sophia comes from the name Sophia, which translates to gifted with wisdom. Tarsicio, from the Greek Tharsos, which means the brave one. Theodoro comes from Theos, meaning God, and Doron, meaning gift, so it translates as the gift of God. Tirso, from the Greek thyrsus, which is a staff wrapped with ivy. Thuribio comes from Thuribius and means the noisy one. Thais, from the Greek Thais, means bandage. Or the beloved Teresa may be associated with the word chorizo, which means the one who harvests. Veronica shares its root with Berenice, which means the one who brings victory. Yanira, from the Greek Yanira, means daughter of the sea. In mythology, she was one of the Nereids. Zenobio comes from Zenobios and means Zeus gives life. Sinaida could come from the root sin and means consecrated to God. Zoe, from the ancient Greek Zoe, can be interpreted as a woman full of life. And that's all for today. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to this channel. I also invite you to turn on the notification bell so you get reminded when there's a new video. See you soon.